How are you getting on at the moment?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's, that's the story. And whereabouts are you joining us from this evening?
Based in Auckland.
Okay, nice,
Yeah.
good stuff. Tell us a little bit about your background, Michelle. You rode at the Tokyo Olympics. You've also been to the 2016 Rio Olympics and also the Commonwealth Games as well. That's pretty impressive. Tell
Yeah.
us about your journey through to those events. Give us a bit of a intro in terms of your background.
Okay, so bear with me. It's a little bit of a story.
Okay, I
Um
like a story.
it yeah. So it basically started I was about 35 years old, and myself and my husband sat on the couch, and we watched the 2020 London opening ceremony Olympics.
Yep.
And we decided to to just enjoy the evening, put all three children to bed, and just have a nice quiet evening.
Yep.
And then my husband said to me, if you would do something in the Olympics, what would that be? What event would you do? What would you would like to do? And I'm like, I'm 35 years old. I've got three children. I don't think anything too physical, like
Yeah, yeah,
literally.
yeah. Little
And I
bowls,
said,
they don't have
maybe,
that at the
yeah,
Olympics.
I said to him, maybe archery, that will probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
So in the end, don't keep in mind that I haven't owned a mountain bike my entire life. So I'm 35 years old. So yeah. And basically then 2 years later, I qualified for, yeah, was it 2 years? Yeah, 2 years later, I qualified for the Rio Olympics, and a year
Wow.
later, I stepped onto the biggest stage of sport, which was the Rio Olympics. But it's all been a journey. It's been memorable just to qualify for that. I think my most memorable race leading up to that was my African champs in Rwanda. It was an absolute mud fest, and I could still remember that moment when I rode over the finish line and I was covered in mud. You can only see my white teeth and my green eyes, and but it was so emotional, and the tears were streaming just to know that you've actually qualified and your country is going to the Olympics. So that
Wow.
was very cool.
That's epic. It sounds relatively easy. And 2 years later, I was qualifying. So, how old are the kids at this stage? What are we doing here? How did you
At
manage all that?
that stage or this stage?
Oh no, that stage. Let's start there.
At that stage, I had a 9-month old
Right.
and a 4-year old, and yeah, and my oldest was about 8. Yeah, so
Okay. Yeah,
that
that's
was
busy. That's busy.
that
Even
was
just getting some
busy.
sleep is hard.
Yeah. So luckily with the support of my husband, and the thing is, if you put your mind to something and you've got
Hmm.
your goals set out for you, I guess you can do it. Everyone can do it. You just
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
set your head and your goal and your mind to it, then off you go.
And you must continue. Obviously, that was a stepping stone along the way, but you've obviously
Yeah.
career hasn't just finished there. You've gone to a couple of Olympic
Yeah.
games, and obviously kids have grown up through that as well. So
Yeah.
you still recognise them, like you still know what they look like and things.
What's that?
You still recognise your kids because that's
Y-
obviously part of it. Like there's a big time sort of dedication to this as well. Like how did you balance that for yourself?
So because well, that wasn't always easy. So
Yeah.
from the start, my husband and myself, we sort of decided um that my career is important now, and he'll support me.
Hmm.
It was difficult at times because there's lots of sacrifices in terms of
Mm.
time. You know how much time
Yeah, yeah.
cycling takes. So it was difficult at times because I also had to travel quite a bit. I mean, the Commonwealth Games was in Australia and Tokyo again. But they sort of grew up with it.
Yeah.
I remember my when we moved here, my middle daughter said to me, "Mom, you're not going to be famous anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, because we're moving to New Zealand and no one's going to know you." I was like, "I
Yeah.
know, but that's okay. I'll
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
another. I'll just write myself into, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
position again. Let's say
Yeah,
it
yeah.
like that. Yeah."
Fantastic. Yeah,
So yeah,
no,
so
that's
they sort of grew up with that, and it's part of our family.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
so of all those different performances, the things you've done, the African champs, the Commonwealth Games, Tokyo Olympics, Rio Olympics, tell us about a performance that you're most proud of and why.
I would have to say it sounds crazy, but definitely the Tokyo Olympics. 2 years before the Tokyo Olympics, I was run over by a car from the back. The car
Yeah.
rode 120 kilometers an hour and hit me from behind. And yeah, I broke several bones, my back, and I had to recover. And that was literally 2 weeks after I qualified for Tokyo. So that
Oh
was a
my
big
God.
blow, and I thought, oh, how am I ever going to get on my bike again? That's the first thing when you wake up from that accident. That's the first thing you
Mm.
think. It's like, how am I going to get on my bike, and how long is this going to take? So I would say just being able to go to Tokyo and be there was definitely one of my highlights because I thought, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to actually get back on your bike from an accident like that? Just to get
Do you
back on your
really
bike at all as a win?
do you really want to know?
Yeah, I do.
So I'm just going to give you the extent of my injuries. I had a fractured elbow, broken rib, broken L3, a broken ankle. Yeah, and that was about it. And 4 weeks later, I was started to pedal on
Yeah.
my stationary bike. So yeah, four
Yeah.
weeks. Obviously, it didn't take me. It took me a while to go back on the road, but
Yeah.
4 weeks later, I was back on my bike.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's impressive, and
Yeah,
just yeah, super cool that you're actually able to do that. And after a massive injury like that, you've done very,
yeah,
very well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So tonight we're talking about Waka 100, and obviously you looked to try and do it in January, but that didn't happen. So what are you? And as a result, you went and did some laps of the forest with Tim, etc.
yeah.
What are you most looking forward to about the Waka 100?
Oh yeah, definitely full gas mountain biking.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So I went down just 2 weeks before the event got cancelled. I went down to
yeah,
Rotorua and I did a course check with Tim.
yeah,
And I mean, it's mind blowing all those trails, and it's like I said, it's just full gas mountain biking. And obviously, just looking forward to a vibey event. And I heard
yeah,
that's definitely what the Waka 100 will be offering. So
yeah,
looking forward to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
It's a little
That's a big
bit
highlight.
like mountain bike heaven, I would say.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
awesome. So, as I mentioned at the start of the show, mid-April, we're about 6 months out from race day. So, from your perspective, what advice would you give to those that have entered the event now, just in terms of, okay, what should you be doing? What should you be thinking about from your perspective?
it's definitely time to get on your bike. It's
Yep,
a good
yep,
time actually. 6 months is a proper time to prepare yourself. And as Eddie Merckx said, ride as much or ride as little, short or as long. Just ride your bike at this stage. It's
yep,
important to
hmm
get on it.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a really nice time of year as well. Actually, the weather generally is pretty settled on the whole,
yeah,
isn't it, at this time of year? So, especially if you can see some daylight across Easter and things, to be able to get out
yeah,
and just enjoy riding your bike.
exactly.
Nice.
It's to get on your bike now. It's basically just to build some base miles and just do slow long rides. Just so
Yeah,
it's actually very enjoyable. Just enjoy your bike.
enjoy
Yeah,
riding your bike. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome advice. Have you
yeah,
got a must-do workout that you kind of try and do on a weekly basis for you?
yeah.
Tell us a
I
little bit about
do.
your training.
So I would definitely recommend a long ride because it's all
Okay.
about
Yeah.
that endurance.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
If weather permits, definitely a long ride. And if I say long ride, it would probably be between 2 and 4 hours.
Mhm.
So just to get
Yeah.
some time in the saddle.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being
Yeah.
used to that, and just that's
Yes.
where your body adapts, doesn't it? Just by
Yeah.
spending time on your bike. Ultimately, to
Uh,
get good at riding your bike, you got to ride your bike.
exactly. And also just to know your body, how it feels after an hour, how it feels after 2 hours, what to eat, what to drink.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
start knowing
And
your body by then.
yeah, that's right. Have you got a favorite training session that you try and do prior to a key event? Like it might be we're getting down the track a little bit now, but just for you, that you sort of, right, I'm going well. Have you got something that might be a hard, short session, a trainer session? What do you have just to say, yep,
Yeah.
I'm in good shape for this?
Yeah. So if the race is on a Saturday, on the Tuesday, I would normally do, say, for instance, 6 or 10 times 30 seconds. Um,
Right.
the 30 seconds would be full power, full gas.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and I really enjoy that session because it's hard, but it's short
Yep.
enough. The
Me too.
intervals
Yeah.
are short enough.
Yep.
And it really builds that intensity that you feel in the race as well. So it
Mhm, mhm,
also
mhm.
builds a bit of VO2 max. So yeah, I really enjoy the 30 seconds before a race.
It just sounds like the ability to hurt to me. It's not particularly pretty. Just give it death.
But
How long?
that's
Like
why it's
30
so short
seconds?
and sweet.
Just get it done. 10 of those.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
full on. You're
yeah.
giving me some good ideas for a Zwift session that we do. Does that 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, or how much recovery do you tend
So
to have
it's
with that?
yeah, so 30 seconds and then about 5 minutes recovery and then 30
Oh, I
seconds
see.
all out again. Yeah. So it's
So
proper
quite a lot of,
recovery so that you
yeah,
can
okay.
do that 30 seconds full on. Yeah.
Super well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic. And in terms of your build up, obviously we talked about base miles and things now, and COVID and things is going around. A lot of people are a bit crook,
Yeah.
we've just been through our family. I just sort of basically took my FTP, took about 60 points off it, and go right. We'll just start from zero again. A lot of people will be sort of in that space, but for you, how do you measure your progress, sort of to make sure that you're on track? How do you
Yeah.
do that for yourself through your build up?
I think in terms of training, it has become a bit scientific over the years. But there's basic knowledge. Probably not for everyone, but I think it's important to work through all your energy systems.
Yeah.
And especially now, 6 months before the Waka, there's enough time to do that. And if I
Mm.
say energy systems, it would be 4 weeks per energy system. I'm just going to mention those energy systems. But
Yeah.
what I mean, there's that 4 to 6 weeks accumulation, which is just
Yeah.
LSD's long, slow distance.
Yeah.
And then there's another week, 4 weeks, where I will do a bit of aerobic transformation.
Yeah.
And then another 4 weeks, maybe it depends how you go in the session. If you
Yeah.
feel you need more work on on the aerobic session, you do another week or another. So it can go from 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then there's the anaerobic transformation session, which is also 4 weeks. And then
Yeah.
finally onto realization, which is your racing.
Very specific.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I mean, those are all, and then obviously there's tools like watts and heart rate, where you can measure yourself. But that also,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll think, yeah, I had a terrible session, and my coach will come back and say, oh, that was an awesome session, best ever. So
Yeah.
I guess, you can measure yourself with those tools as well. But
What do
in
you
the
do?
end,
What is it
Richard,
about
I think
racing for you?
yes, I think it's always going back to racing and then see how you feel and then
Yes.
go back to the drawing board or,
Yes.
build on that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Nice.
always a little bit of a surprise with the first race, I think. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and that's good,
Um,
isn't it? Because that's a great place to learn. Like you
yeah.
don't have to be amazing, but just actually go and put your toe on the start line and
Yeah.
find out how you go. Because it's not just about your power numbers or your power to weight ratio. It's about your nutrition and your lines and your
So many
nervous
things.
energy and all those things, isn't
Yeah. And the other thing is also your mental ability,
it?
in your head. It's so
Yeah. Yes.
important to, I mean, you can have all the watts and the best heart rate or whatever, but if your head's not there on that day, then, it's going to be a
Yeah.
long, hard day.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
You've got to be in a space of actually enjoying the experience, or
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to be ugly, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Do you do any strength training? Because obviously, as part of a build up, if we're thinking about that, that's probably a good time to be starting to do some of that stuff now. Is that part of your build up at all?
Yes, I definitely do strength training, especially now. It's a good time to
Hmm.
start. Also, off the bike, I will do leg specific, cycling specific, more heavy, low repetitions
Yeah.
in base training. And
Hmm.
then towards the end of towards racing, I'll do more plyometric power,
Hmm.
explosive power.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And how
yeah.
many sessions are you doing a week? Are you there in the gym
Um,
once, twice, three times?
About 3 times,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
your core needs attention, and because you're
Yeah.
a mountain biker, obviously the upper body also needs attention,
Yes.
because it's a full body workout.
Yeah, it is. And that's the beauty of this event. You actually probably almost tighter in your upper body than you are your lower body. So you're
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
awesome.
that day I went out with Tim. My upper body was actually so sore the next day. I decided, I should probably
Okay.
train my upper body a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
So
good. That's good. Great advice as well. That's really good. Final question from me is that I've heard a rumor that those people that were born on the 12th of September 1978 actually turned out to be really good athletes. Is that true?
really, that's
Yeah,
definitely
because
good. That's a good rumor.
yeah, exactly. Because I've just doing some research last night. I was like, hang on a second, that's my birthday. So how cool is
Oh,
that?
what? High five!
Yeah, good high five as well. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
good
true.
athletes,
Definitely true.
definitely.
Yeah, good job. Good job. Nice work, Michelle. Well, all the best for your build up. Thanks you so much for joining us. It's going to be great
Thank you.
to sort of follow what you do, and then also meet you on the start line, and hope you just rip it up and give it heaps. It's going to be great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good stuff.
Cheers.
We'll catch up soon. Cheers,
Cheers.
Michelle.
See ya.
Cheers.